All right, so this is the forecast discussion for November 8th, Wednesday. So taking a look at the low temperatures for New Jersey last night, we had temperatures mostly in the low 40s, 40, 42, 41, and some upper 30s, 38, 39, 37, through most of central, southern, and northeastern parts of New Jersey. We did, of course, have Sussex and northwest Jersey always have to be colder than the rest of us in the winter, and just overall better if you like snow. Temperatures in the mid to low 30s, 35, mostly 33, 30, high point at 28. No surprise there. That's the coldest spot in New Jersey. There was also some snow up. At least I saw on radar it said there was snow. I don't think there was any accumulation. At least higher elevations could have seen some accumulations. As well as a lot of sleet in this section-ish. I know Morris County got some sleet. I had a friend text me that Morris County got some sleet, or at least part of it did. And so that's first winter weather event in November 7th. So that's cool. At least we got one down, and it's in relatively the right time of year. So hey, uh, step in the right direction. So taking a look at the temperatures right now, temperatures in the mid, some upper 40s now coming in southern Jersey, mid 40s mostly in central Jersey with some exceptions here. Hamilton, I think this is where Trenton is, so not too surprising. That's a little warmer there. Looks like some in New Brunswick is also warmer. Again, the cities are always going to be a little bit warmer during the day and a little bit warmer at night because of the heat that they produce from all the just the fact that they're a city, they're just going to produce more heat. I don't really need to explain that too much. And some finally got High Point has just now hit 40. Temperatures in the basically in the low 40s, northwest Jersey. Of course, they're just going to be a little colder. Sussex County is always just a little bit colder than the rest of New Jersey. Most of New Jersey's in the mid 40s though, and I did check that is actually average about for this time of year. The average for Newark, I had to look it up. I don't have the averages memorized. Uh, the average for Newark is 55 as a high and 39 as a low, and I believe they averaged that for the entire month. So it should be, I guess, it would make sense for it to be a little bit warmer at the start, a little bit colder at the end. So I would bet the average for right now is probably about, for Newark anyway, it's probably around 56, 57 with a low around 40, 41, 39 in that range. But again, it looks like an average day, maybe slightly below average. So I had to sneeze there for a second and I just got pranked. Oh, never mind. So finally, it doesn't look like we'll be seeing any more 70s, at least not for the rest of the month. Average winter temperatures coming in. Finally, we're not at winter yet, but just wanted to show that we are quite a bit above average, 40 degrees above average. If the season were to end today, that's actually only a degree above average. So because you take the cumulative departure, 40 degrees divided by the number of days in the month, which I don't have the days of the months. There's 30 days in November. It doesn't really matter if it's 30 or 31 too much. It's just going to be like 30 days is going to be like 1.33, and I think 31 would be like 1.334 or something, or 332 or whatever. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. But we are a little bit above average for this time of year. Obviously, those 70-degree days really brought us above average. You'll note, though, that this is interesting. 74.38 was only 8 degrees above average, so that low temperature really does make a difference. So you can have, that's just something you need to, some people often forget, is you can have temperature. The temperature could be 80, but if it gets down to 20 at night, you might actually just end up being average for the day. So it's something to just keep in mind. I'm not saying we certainly shouldn't be having 70s, but if we're only 8 degrees above average is quite a bit, but it is for only one day. 18 degrees is too much, 13 is too much, and 8 is also too much. Any kind of, but that's kind of in the 8 is within the norm. 18 I think is that's strange. There's only one way you can explain that one, and not to get political on here, so I'm just gonna leave that where it is. Uh, so taking a look at the regional data and the national data as well for the surface obs. We have that low pressure system that came through our area last night, now well offshore. We've got a cold front swinging down through South Carolina, and I'm going to explain a little bit about cold fronts in a second. Got a low pressure system that I kind of disagree with there, but, I'm not going to go against the National Weather Service, and I don't really, it could be there. I also disagree with the stationary front, and I really don't think that's there, but there's also a interesting, they say there's a surface trough there. So I guess that would be why they think that there's a low pressure system there. We've got high pressure in Maine and centered basically over 4 states, Nebraska, Iowa, Missouri, and Kansas. Temperatures are quite cold there as well in the 20s, but that's not too surprising. Got a couple of, before I get to the cold front, actually, I'll do the cold front now. We've got, there's, I want to point this out, there's haze in Georgia, central Georgia. So that's interesting. That's probably, dew point's pretty close. That might even be fog, or type of fog. Also got, okay, so now with this cold front, the way you can tell if there's a cold front usually, and, most of you probably know this, but for some of you if you don't, we've got northern winds behind it. You always want to look for winds from, at least in a cold front. Usually what you want to do is you want to look for a wind shift, okay? And in this instance, we got lucky. There's winds from the northeast, north, and northwest in this North Carolina area, right behind the cold front. So we got lucky in that regard. It's not always going to be that simple, but this is a simple case. I just want to kind of illustrate it. And in front of the cold front, we've got winds from the west, and there's southwest kind of buried in there, and some west southwests. So that's what you want to look for. You want to look for, at least that's one thing you want to look for. You want to look for that big wind shift. So you can see got winds coming from this way, and then it kind of shifts to that way. You want to look for a wind shift like that. Now, it's not always going to be that easy, because you'll see when we get over here, got winds. They don't really change from point A to point B, from behind to in front of the cold front. So they don't change there. And that's something you have to kind of look out for sometimes. It can be a little bit difficult. You have to look into the circulation of the low pressure system. Usually also another rule of thumb, it will follow the kinks in the isobars. You can see here it kind of goes through the middle of this kink. There's not really a kink you can see there, but maybe if you're really looking hard, you can kind of see maybe there's a kink here. So that's another rule of thumb. And something else you want to look for is big changes in temperature. So you can see you got 50s back here and 60s out in front. That's not too big, but 10 degrees, definitely a frontal boundary, most likely there. Whether it be this can apply to both warm and cold fronts. But this one I said specifically for cold fronts. If anyone actually has any questions about that, feel free to shoot me a comment. I have this video will be on YouTube, so comment there. I might post it to Twitter. I'm not sure yet. I gotta figure out Twitter. I'm still trying to figure it out, but yeah. So if you have any other questions, just post a comment on YouTube for now, and I'll get back to you, or Twitter if I put it on there. Apparently there's now like they doubled it to 240 characters or whatever that used to be before. So it's now nice big long tweets I'm seeing everyone doing. It's rather amusing. At any rate, I don't agree with the stationary front. There is rain there, so maybe that's why they think it's a stationary front. But I don't really see. There's a wind shift. We've got westerlies here, mostly north, and then there's this weird one here. But this is rather far away. They have the stationary front back here, and I think this is more indicative of. This is where things can get tricky, because I wouldn't have put, if I was still in school, I wouldn't have put a stationary front there, but I should have, and I'll tell you why. Because there is a low pressure here. I see now you have that wind shift, so you can imagine there's kind of like the low here. You've got the, or here, I guess they say it is. I don't know if I agree with the position per se, but if you imagine the circulation, you've got the winds coming now from that direction, the west. So, and then there's a southerly here. So I actually think the low might be further back based off just the winds, because you've got southerlies here and westerlies here. No easterlies, but I would imagine if there was data in this quadrant, maybe there would be. It's a small circulation, but there should be a stationary front there, because that would be if the low is really there. I think it's actually more back here, and maybe just extend that back up to into that, make that part a stationary front. At any rate, you should always, if there's a low pressure system riding along a cold front and there does appear to be a slight wind shift, you can put in a stationary front. It's kind of hard to identify stationary fronts, but you can put one in. Another cold front also finishing off and extending down through the rest of Georgia and Alabama, Mississippi, and even Louisiana. Not much of a temperature change with this one. I'm not too surprised about that. The main low is up here, and it's kind of hard for temperatures to get into the deep, to get chilly into the deep south. We do have temperatures in the 50s, but you know that's not too cold. And there's a couple of interesting things I just want to point out. There's some commas. I believe that's drizzle of some sort. I've never actually seen the commas used, but I think it's drizzle. Haven't actually never actually used the commas this recent memory. I actually don't think I've ever seen them before, so that's something interesting. There's a question mark right over here. That's just, I think that's just means that they don't know what's going on. Further north, we've got this weird triangle shape, upside down triangle with the dot on it, and that, believe it or not, is means that there were rain showers before in the past hour, but they're currently orange right now. And you can see we've also got that for I think that's moderate snow. I think there's two there. It's kind of weirdly pixelated, or maybe there's one. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think that's so. At any rate, there was snow in the last hour in this part of Canada. And now I'm going to talk about what we've got going on back here with this low pressure system in Hudson Bay and this nice cold front. It's a really potent cold front. We've got temperatures -15, -11, -15, -6. I got a 7 here. That's a little. -13, -22, -24, -50. Negatives everywhere. It's cold. These are temperatures in Fahrenheit, not Celsius. This is cold. This is really cold. Even I think for this time of year in Canada, I think this is actually below average for Canada, if you can believe that. I have trouble believing it. Got temperatures even into the single digits. This is 60. Some warmth over here for some reason, but even because if you go further south, it's actually colder. But got temperatures in the single digits in North Dakota, in Minnesota. Temperatures 11 degrees, 12 degrees. This is ahead of it, but 19 degrees. Or 20 degrees, my mistake. It's cold. There's even some blowing. This is regular blowing snow. I think this is heavy blowing snow up here. Winds 35, -6. Ugh. That would be fun to just see what that feels like, but I wouldn't want to stay there for too long. So it's cold, and this cold is going to be sliding our way very soon. By Friday, Saturday, there's some temperatures that could even be record cold. When was the last time you've heard the words record and cold used in the same sentence? I can't remember the last time it's been used, at least not for our neck of the woods. So we'll have to see how that pans out. So take a look at the satellite. You can see that cold front is rather broadly, and there's a lot of cloudiness through most of the southern half of the country, I guess. Well, not the entire southern half, but Texas through even Virginia. Just draw a line through them. Basically, almost every state in the middle is cloudy, except for Florida, Sunshine State for a reason. So now looking a little closer, I just want to see. Looks like see if New Jersey's going to stay cloudy today. It looks like we're staying with some of the clouds are sticking around. Um, it's hard to say whether or not this will stick around. It looks like southern Jersey might stick around a little bit better. Hmm, maybe it gets clear towards later on in the day. I don't know. Yeah, I would say. Oops. No, I can't get that here. Okay. Well, this is the visible satellite, and this seems to say the clouds are thickening, at least for parts of Jersey. So it looks like northwest Jersey might clear out, north and northwest Jersey might clear out, and then the southern half and parts of central Jersey might stay cloudy. I would say this will clear out probably around 2 to 3 p.m. So you have to keep an eye on that. I don't really see the temperatures getting much higher than 51 today, though. So that was the only reason I was interested in whether or not it looked like it was going to clear out today. Looking at the water vapor, still a lot of moisture, even in our part, even though the cold front came through. A lot of moisture in this whole chunk of basically almost the entire southern half of the United States. Looks like it's also might be attached to a subtropical jet. The last time I had this, there was a nice, obvious subtropical jet. This one is much broader, not as obvious, so I can't say for certainty, but it does certainly look like a subtropical jet with some drier air intruding in most of Arizona, and even part into Mexico. So moving on to look at the radar, you can see we do have that rain. So there's not too much going on in those areas where we saw that there were those commas, which I do believe again is drizzle. I'm actually going to look that up at the end of the video because I'm curious just to see if it is, because I'm pretty sure it is, but I just want to make sure. Some heavier rain down into parts of southern Virginia, into parts of northern North Carolina. That's probably most likely. It's from the cold front. Sometimes you will get the precipitation. Without getting too complex, you will get some precipitation can be behind the cold front rather than in front of it sometimes. If anyone's curious about what that is, feel free to comment on the YouTube and I'll explain it in further detail. It'll get into some Anna and Catafront kind of details. So if you're curious about that, feel free to ask. But nothing in our neck of the woods. No rain. Can't rule out like a stray sprinkle or some drizzle. You really can't rule out these things, but it seems very unlikely. I think a radar. It could be a radar. It most likely seems like a radar glitch or birds or something up there. So nothing really crazy going on. So definitely no precipitation. Nothing like we saw last night. Moving into the model, this is the 12Z NAM. Just going to roll through quickly because the video is kind of getting long. And there's nothing really to say other than looks like you've got that stalled cold front just to our south. You've got this. Let me get the draw. Okay, it's turned on. Go with red. So you've got nice swath of cold air, 492. That is brutally cold. And just to show you how cold it really is, this is the daytime highs. These are 20s. 20-degree daytime high. That's pretty cold. So I'm going to have to just clear. So that's pretty cold. I have this centered around the northeast. Looks like we might get into the 50s or maybe some 60s in southern Jersey on this is late Thursday, so afternoon Thursday, my mistake. So you got that cold air coming in and a lot of snow over parts of Canada. Not really what I'm looking at right now. You can see we do get that cold air dumps in, got a high pressure in control, and looks like we start to moderate afterwards. No big strong cold shots afterwards. So hopefully we stay right around within these two lines because this should be about average for us. So as long as we're in those two lines, and maybe even colder, I'm always in favor of colder. But as long as we don't get past the 552 line thickness with regards to temperature, that would translate. I think this would be about 50. This would probably be in the 50s if we were around this temperature. Be kind of hard. Can I show that? No, I think this is, yeah, that's overnight, so that's, you can't really. But I'll see if I can show you that later on. I just want to kind of get with what I'm saying here. So no real precipitation with the front either. A little bit of light rain, nothing crazy. Um, you can see a lot of vorticity, not really much in our area. You know, nothing really. But most of the storm is further to the north. We got a nice cutoff low spinning around, and by the time we get to 84, you can see there's a ridge. So there should be it's a weak ridge. So we should actually be seeing a trough develop in response to that. And I'll just actually draw it like that. What you see is starting to build up here. A lot of vorticity. We'll have to watch that to see if that actually starts getting going. Starts to develop into something more interesting. So I'm going to look through just quickly the temperatures. Today doesn't expect us to get much more than around 50, which is, again, below average. Get down to the upper 30s, freezing around the Sussex High Point area. Again, nothing too surprising with temperatures here. Get a little warmer tomorrow, probably a little closer to slightly above average. Then it cools down. You can see, oh, what's this? Single digits? Ooh, that's brutally cold. Is that coming into our area? Possibly. So this is 8 a.m. Friday with those morning lows. That's not where we're not in it yet. This is coming in. So gets a little not too warm, and then boom. 8 a.m. Saturday, 22, 25, 25. It's around freezing, maybe a little warmer along the coast. That's an ocean influence. I think this is actually overdoing that ocean influence a little bit. There's not, especially with what I would imagine it gets even colder. This is 8 p.m. Saturday. Oh, no, this is 8 p.m. Friday. Jeez, my times are 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Friday. I'm gonna end up doing that a lot. So you have to bear with me because I'm not used to the daylight savings, especially with Zulu time. So you're gonna have to bear with me with that for a little bit. So this is 7 a.m. Saturday. We got temperatures 20 degrees, 23 degrees, 22. It's brutally cold. This is temperatures you wouldn't even see. This is temperatures you'd probably see in December, not November. This is cold. And I think that'll be probably about it only gets into the low 40s. We're back into the 20s again. For the low on this is 0Z Sunday, so it's basically 7 p.m. By 7 p.m. on Saturday, we're back into the 20s already. Whether that holds, you might see in certain areas this might be the colder day because of all the cold air sinking, but with this one as well, this is cold. This is record-breaking cold. You haven't heard that name in a while in New Jersey. So that's going to be the end of this video. I will have this video on YouTube if you have some trouble viewing on the website. I will be updating. Again, I'm going to try to get it daily. If I can, I don't know about the videos. The videos I can't always do daily. But I will try. There's really no excuse for me not to just type up a paragraph about the next day's forecast. The long range forecast, I'm not sure how I want to do this, because it's kind of pointless to have a long range forecast every day. So I might make it just a weekly thing. Like I might do it every Wednesday. I might do it bi-weekly. I'm not sure how I want to do that yet. I'm also don't expect any content on Sundays. Sundays is that's the day I kind of just take off. It's Sunday. It's a lazy day. I like to watch some football. If there's a major event like a strong storm or something going on, or it's like -8 degrees outside and there's 50-mile-an-hour winds, I may in that case post like a just a live current condition update kind of thing. But other than that, don't expect anything on Sundays. Like I said earlier, might not be daily. I'll do them when I can. But I will definitely be getting daily updates to both the daily forecast page. I forget what it's called. And the long range page. I'm also going to be trying to fix up the climate page, and because currently there's nothing on it, I'm trying to figure out what exactly I should put on there, and I'm going to be adding another page for user submitted photos. So like if you guys have any photos or weather videos that are like just cool stuff happening, or you find it on the internet, you don't even have to have taken it. Uh, let me know and I'll post them there. Hopefully, it's I've had a lot of trouble. I'm not a very good website designer or a computer programmer or any of that stuff. So I've had a lot of trouble with putting images, but I think I finally figured out how to basically do it properly. So that's it for today. Everyone have a good day and peace out.